The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Welcome to my radio and TV show, Debi Changes Lives. I'm Debi, your certified holistic health coach. I revitalize people's lives by helping them identify the root causes of their health and mindset issues and create a custom natural holistic strategy to address them in the areas of mind, body, and soul. As a health coach, I'm not allowed to say that I heal, treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any diseases. I can certainly make your body more efficient by reducing symptoms. You'll feel better, be more productive, and enjoy life more. Not many people have released 70 pounds, had a health transformation and mindset transformation, and kept fit and trim for over a decade. I have, and I have staying power. And it's been over 11 years. I even became a half marathon runner at the age of 51 when I never ran from child to adulthood due to foot pain. And I have done 8 half marathons so far. Mindset is the key for lasting change. As a certified holistic health coach, I do revitalize people's lives in many different areas of health and mindset. I guide you to clean, toxic-free foods and high-quality essential nutrients. My coaching is for optimizing health, releasing weight efficiently when needed, and enhancing your mindset. With my clients, I help them recognize that their thoughts, feelings, and emotions will drive their actions and results. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. That's why it's crucial to have a positive mindset in life to succeed. It's also imperative to manage your emotions and release those low vibrational emotions such as fear, frustration, and doubt, because all they're going to do is slow you down and get you stuck physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Like a hot air balloon that has balances, I help my clients release those emotional balances and baggage so they can uplift to a better, happier, healthier life. In turn, they are releasing their stress. They're getting healthier, and they are reshaping their core beliefs. You'll see and feel the differences with my coaching programs. Ask me about them. Set up a complimentary consultation at Debi Changes Lives, DebiChangesLives, as in Victory ES.com/Linktree, LINKTREE. And I will guide you to that better, happier, healthier life with custom national unique solutions for you in the areas of mind, body, and soul. Now, being a trustee can be stressful as the trustee and for the person you represent and dealing with others as well. Today, I have Cindee Williams, a business lifestyle coach and founder of Lead My Life. She helps legacy entrepreneurs build businesses and live their blessed life. And recently she spoke on the John Maxwell stage at an international John Maxwell conference, which is a highlight of her life. She's also excited about her new book that's upcoming, The Season of You, The Intimate Journey of Becoming You, coming soon, November 8, 2025. Now, Cindee and I recently had a conversation a while ago, and we both found out that we have experiences being a trustee. She even built this framework from it, and she calls this framework TRUST. It's an acronym, TRUST. She developed it while walking through handling her aunt's estate. And this will make it easier for you to decide whether you want to be a trustee or not. I really wish I had this framework, because there's a lot of things that go on. The attorneys, even though they try to inform you as best they can, and some of them could be quite good, they don't quite give you enough information to know really what to expect being that trustee. And for myself, I had two different situations I'll discuss later. So we'll be discussing navigating trustee roles with trust. So let's welcome Cindee Williams, a business lifestyle coach and the founder of Lead My Life. Cindee, welcome to my show.
Hello, Debbie, and thank you so much for having me today. I am so excited for this conversation. We've been waiting for it.
Yeah, it's an important one. It's, people don't really think about it when they decide to become an executor of a trust. And it's a lot more than they really, really, really realize.
Right. Yeah. So, for myself, as a business lifestyle coach, I really work with women. I say, discover who you are beyond mom. So that empty nest age. And as we find out when we're in our late 40s and 50s, we're kind of in that sandwich generation where we're taking care of our parents and maybe like I was my elderly aunt, and we're also helping our kids to launch, and we kind of get lost somewhere in the middle and really need to, what I say, discover who you are beyond mom. Really discover yourself.
Exactly. And it is overwhelming. I felt like I was being stretched all over the place.
Right. And then you add on the responsibilities of being an executor or a trust or a caregiver. Life can get kind of wobbly for a little bit.
Yeah. And I gained a lot of weight because of it. But I've released it, so I'm all okay. But anyways, I really love what you set up, and we're going to start discussing it. So it's really important before you say yes. And I wish, like I said before, I wish I knew this information. When someone asks you to be their trustee or executor, what should you clarify upfront first? The scope of it, the expectations, capacity. Attorneys don't always tell you this information. And I was a trustee for my mom. And she was it wasn't that difficult for her because she actually had a really great pension. And she had a full-time living assistant, person that helped her, caregiver with her, which was really helpful. So she can live on her own and somebody else lived with her as well. But my whole point is everything got paid for and there was like no worries, right? And then I had somebody else that had no money, completely different personality. And, it was a lot more difficult for that individual. So you never know. Someone could be really easy. Someone could be a little bit more difficult. So understanding what's involved is so important. And this is your first letter of trust. It's T. So, I kind of told you a little bit about my background. So let's, why did you come up with this acronym and what does T stand for you?
Right. So my Aunt Sandra asked me to be her trustee over mashed potatoes at Thanksgiving dinner back in 2017, I believe.
Oh,
and
wow.
My Aunt Sandra was someone who's called a professional fiduciary. So a professional fiduciary is actually someone who handles people's estates when they don't have trustees. And she did that for 4 decades of her life. So she was, everything was so organized and so well put together. And I didn't really know the ins and outs of it. And I thought, well, somebody asked you to be your trustee and it's my aunt. Of course I'm going to say yes. Right. Yeah. And that's it. Normally we kind of feel the pressure on us. Of course, I'll help you, whatever you need, without really understanding what that role is. So even though my aunt was highly organized and she did this for a living, I developed this out of the art of finishing well. Like how can we plan to finish well like my Aunt Sandy did? And so this acronym really helps with that. So number one is that T, that transparency. If the person who's asking you to take on this role does not have open communication with you, does not want to talk about death and dying, does not want to talk about what happens to them when they die, what happens to their belongings, what are their wishes when they pass away. If they're not even willing to have that conversation with you, there's no transparency. And I would see that as a huge red flag because you do not have to say yes. You do not have to say yes. This is a decision that you need to really weigh. And so transparency is huge. Is this a person that I can work closely with and that I trust? Will I be able to set up regular meetings with them? And will he or she allow me to go through documents, prior to their end of life experience? So we started working 2017, and she passed away in 2023. So we had 6 years of just this developing relationship, and transparency with our launching pad.
That transparency is so important. Like I said, my mom was easy. Somebody else wasn't. And to tell you the truth, all of a sudden I found my name on a document and no one asked me.
Yes. Yeah. Transparency.
I was a second in command. And so I was like, and I mentioned this is not something I wanted. But when you're put on that spot, it's really, oh my goodness, you don't know what to do because you don't want to offend anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, if someone's going to ask you to do something, you can at least inform them before any paperwork is done.
Right. And you do have, and that's something that needs to be known, is you do have the ability to say no. That if somebody has then put your name on paperwork, you can say no. And the court has avenues for you to do that. And that's when a professional fiduciary comes in and takes over, a third party person, because this is your life. And for me, it was a full-time job. She was.
It is.
Yeah,
And
she was a real estate investor. She had multiple rental properties, 12 beneficiaries, 2 trusts. It was a very large estate, and you have to know what you're getting into.
Yeah. Well, like I said, for my mom, it was a co-trustee executor. But I didn't realize I was going to be doing all the footwork. But, she was my mom. I had no problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I had to sell a property, in Mammoth Lakes.
Mm-hmm.
And, and another thing, is that I also had to make it clear that, that property had to make money. It had to be rented during high season.
Mm-hmm.
And the other executive was like, oh, he was kind of disappointed. So I'm like, well, if not, it's going to come out of my mom's money.
Right.
So, at least there was cooperation and we had open communication.
Right. And that's part of the transparency, is if you are going to be in a co-trustee situation, that you're able to have open communication, not only with your co-trustee, but also with the beneficiaries. That transparency is huge. And I feel like it just helps calm any problems, questions. People start to get nervous when there's no talking going on. And I feel like that's when problems start to arise. I did a email type newsletter. We had 12 beneficiaries. So at the first of every month, I would send out a newsletter and just say, this is what's going on. This is what you can expect, just to show that we were actively working on things. And we were able to close the whole estate in 6 months, which is pretty crazy. But it was because we worked together, and because there was that trust and the expectations were set, we were able to do that.
That's fantastic. When it's not like that, it's a lot more difficult.
It is a lot more difficult.
And you may have to research a lot more and do more footwork. So that's all I can say to you regarding that.
Right.
But now the next phase is caring while coordinating. And as a caregiver, as a trustee, you're a caregiver and a fiduciary. You're a fiduciary steward. At the same time, how do you honor the dignity and navigate tough calls, medical, money, and boundaries? So this is R.
Yeah, R is for respect. In having a respect for that person's life. That's, again, before you say yes, is this actually somebody that I respect and I really want to take care of and make sure that I'm helping them through this season of their life. So respecting that person, and then so you have a significant chunk of time and dedication as a trustee. That having that respect is super important. With my Aunt Sandra and my Uncle Dave, I had tremendous respect for her. They got married when they were in their 70s, not in their 70s, but in 1970. And we found out that Dave had a drinking problem, and she went to my Uncle Dave, and she said, you know what? If you don't stop drinking, then I'm going to have to leave you. And this was a woman in the 70s who really stood her ground and said, you know what? I want more for our marriage. I love you, but I'm willing to say goodbye if this doesn't change. And Uncle Dave at that time did not change. Now, my Aunt Sandra, she went on to take the little bit of money she had in the 70s, single woman, divorcee, when that was a huge stigma, and she invested in real estate and just a little property, and that led to another one and another one. And then over 10 years of time, Uncle Dave stopped drinking right away, and then spent the next 10 years gaining her hand back in marriage. So they ended up being married again for 35 more years. So it was like, she was a role model to me. She was a mentor. So she was somebody that I highly respected. And that's why I wanted to move into that role. I also understood what she wanted in life. And that's huge. And I think that kind of goes to you, which is understand the vision. They kind of go together. When you respect that person and you've taken the time to really spend time with them and learn how they're wanting this last season of their life to go, and you're able to talk about it and have those conversations, then it just goes a lot more smoothly. And I'm a real estate agent, and I've worked with a lot of different probate cases. So I've seen things go in a lot of different directions. So you might be saying, oh, well, you had the ideal situation, but I have been able to work with other families who didn't have the ideal situation and kind of work through this trust model with them.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to the medical and money, like I said, one party had money, one didn't. So there's a lot of tough conversations regarding that. And another thing, when it comes to paperwork, that Vence directive has changed so much in California the last 20 years. It's not even funny. And it's really something that's hard for people to understand. So, that's something that people need to, get some advice on. So, but when you're talking to somebody, you got to respect them. Like my mom, she had a stroke. She had a pinhole needle of vision in one eye and another good vision in another eye, except for a cataract or something like that. But she was constantly proving to me that she was fine. I can see. Like, Mom, I know you can see.
Yeah.
But you do need some help. And that's why you have this help. And she fought it at first, but then, it turned out to work out. And you just got to understand. And my mom did decline of Alzheimer's and wasn't communicating and was actually talking to me in French at times. I'm like, she was a foreign language teacher. So I was like, okay, Mom. But you just understand where they're coming from, no matter who they are.
Right.
And, and that's my whole point is I try to talk to people as best I can, no matter who they are.
Right.
And, capturing that vision, you've already kind of talked about that with understanding, where you have to discover and document, your aunt's wishes beyond the paperwork, the values, the gifts, the faith, and what was behind the decision. And I have a feeling she was very upfront with you. Am I right?
Right. She was a very upfront person. Yeah. Very, very, very direct and straightforward. And she knew what she wanted in life. So that made the job easier. And we could have very open discussions. But we have other people in our parents, my husband and I, where maybe those conversations aren't as easy. So I recommend that if you are in this trustee position, the time to have conversations is now, and move from this position of control, of like you're in there to control their life, and you move into a season of compassion. Just understand and trying to see what they're kind of giving up in life. They have to give up a lot of control, and it's hard. It's hard. And so we just have to have compassion and empathy for where they're standing, trying to see life through their eyes and work together. You're really on a team with them together, just understanding what their vision is for this season of life.
And unfortunately, there's some hard decisions you have to make. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's just,
yeah,
it
you
has
do.
to.
You
And then
do.
they think you're controlling. It's like, I have no choice. You know, certain
Right.
things I cannot, give, have that happen for you. It's not a matter of me
Right.
giving. It's just seeing if it'll work. So,
Right.
and I have tried to make things work, but certain things happened, and there's nothing I can do with certain things happening that she was
Right.
doing. So it's just, it's really hard on both parties because you feel like, she hates me, type of thing.
Right. And just really just kind of crawling into their shoes and helping them the best you can, but you can't take on all the roles. And
No.
you're there really to be an advocate for them when they can no longer advocate for themselves. You're there to be their voice, even if they're not. No, my aunt went into dementia about 6 months before she passed away.
Oh,
And she wasn't, really wholly there anymore. So you had to just start making decisions, and she may, no, I don't want that. But you knew that you're making the best decision for her, and becoming their advocate, becoming their voice when they
yeah.
can no longer speak up for themselves.
Yeah, that dementia phase, I don't think people have really experienced it.
Mhm.
They are in denial because they think everything's fine.
Right, right. They're
Uh,
not seeing themselves talk in loops, and the 5-minute conversation that you have for 2 hours over and over again. And they're seeing people. A lot of times they have their end of life visions. They're seeing people, maybe their mom that passed away before them, or their spouse, or they're starting to have these I'm just going to say visions, and we have to not discount that. We
no.
have to validate them, and just continue. Again, look, I think compassion is just the best word, the best way that I can describe it.
Yeah, you just need to listen to them. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember my mom talking to me like that little things that happened when I was younger. I was like, no, these things are happened to her.
Right, right.
You know what I mean?
Cloud. Yeah, it becomes
And it's
cloudy.
hard. And you don't want to correct them. That's really important. You
No,
don't want to correct them.
no.
But you also have to say, I got, if you need to go somewhere to go pick your child, I need to go now.
Right.
And with my mother-in-law, she had a different type of, dementia. And she was actually really good with me, but she was harder on her children.
Mm,
So that's the whole point, is that, they don't know they're doing that. They just don't understand that. And then
right.
they get into this, I don't know if you ever reached this stage. My mom was like in a glassed phone booth, wasn't talking anymore.
Mm,
And that was difficult. So,
right,
and then I was really making decisions for her that were not exactly easy for her as well. But
right.
gosh, she had dementia for a long time, and
Yeah,
she was in hospice for 7 months.
yeah.
And that was the hardest thing because they have to do approval every 3 months or something like that.
Mhm,
And they're saying,
mm.
"Well, we may take her off of hospice." And I'm like, "You made her bedridden. You better help me."
Right, right. Well, hospice is when you're no longer treating them anymore. You're taking care of managing their pain, and you're helping their end of life experience. That really goes to my S on the trust thing, is significance. You
Yeah.
are really helping them end their life with significance. And I remember with my Aunt Sandra, when we had her on hospice, and it was about the last 6 months. There was no improvement. There was no road, where she was going to get better. And, we knew
Mhm.
it was coming. And I had my cousin in the room with us, and the hospice doctor comes in. And I have never walked anybody through an end of life experience. I didn't know what it was. And the hospice doctor came in, and she's sitting there talking with Aunt Sandy, explaining what it looks like to die. And
Mhm.
Sandy's sitting there and just having this frank conversation and asking questions, and she's even laughing, and she's just having a conversation about this. And my cousin and I, we were sitting on the couch watching, we were just bawling. We couldn't stop crying because it just felt so sad. But they made it so beautiful. They
Yeah.
made it a very beautiful experience, and just allowing her to understand what was happening now. So it wasn't scary. She could feel like she could talk about what it was like to, to pass away, to die, what that was going to feel like, what that was going to look like. And it really just gave her significance in her last days,
Yeah. Unfortunately, my mom wasn't communicating during that time.
Right. But the hospice can communicate that to you too. They're there to help us as well,
Yeah.
to understand what the signs look like, and what the progression is going to look like. Because we have a lot of questions, and not a lot of people like to talk about dying, but we
No,
need
they don't.
Yeah.
But you know what? They gave you a book to read, and they went over the book and things like that. So that was really helpful. I don't even know what that book is anymore.
Yeah.
But my whole point is, when they kept us going back for approval, I don't know if you went through that process, but it was like, and this is like a month before she passed away, the last one.
Right. Like, no, she's not getting better. She's
not getting better. She's still
Yeah.
being, fed by the mouth. She still can't get out of bed by herself. She needs assistance.
Right.
And you're telling me
Right.
you may not have, that was a stressful situation too.
Right. And there's lots of stressful situations like that, where we're sitting there having to make decisions, and we've got our whole real life going on at the same time, and just adds this pressure. Yeah, sure.
You've got to live your life,
You have to. You have to.
And you got to put boundaries up. But there's things that will break those boundaries, of course, when it comes to the hospice and being there and things like that.
Mhm.
But if the person's more able to do things, you got to put up boundaries.
Yeah.
And it's a very stressful situation to be pulled in many directions. And
But that's why we look for support. That's why we get people. Don't try to do this alone. Don't have people who've walked the path before. Have people surrounding you who can help you how to organize, because just the paperwork itself, and just then I mean, after they die, and I call it the duties of death, and it's just horrible. You're sitting there grieving, and then you've got to take care of all this other stuff, and it just feels so inhuman.
Yeah.
You need support around you that time. So
you do.
Yeah.
And I had that support with my brother, but I don't have that support anymore. Now with end of life logistics, distributing belongings, and how you kept people first and honor the story of the stuff. Now for me, we had so many things that I didn't want to, take on any more storage space with, when my mom passed away. So because I had to move my mom from Culver City down to Huntington Beach, and the place was smaller. And so things got into my house that, I wanted for my son. Other than that, there wasn't really that many things. But other than that, everything else after my mom passed away, I just, whatever you guys want, I don't want anything.
Right.
And that's pretty, because I said, we need to clear this out. We need to clean up the house. We need to paint the house. We need to sell the house.
Right.
And fix things.
Mm-hmm.
And so my brother gathered up a lot of things. The other individual had no place to put it, but she took some things too. But I also put some things aside for that other individual. My whole point is that it's important that you don't bicker and fight over these things. And that made it easier for that transition for me.
It does. And I think if you have the luxury of knowing in advance that this is your role, and you develop the open communication, then your loved one can go, oh, you know what? I want my wedding ring to go to this daughter, and I want, this special thing or whatever to go to that. If you are able to have that open communication, it helps so much. But then if that doesn't take place, which happens a lot of times, being able to go in and, just take the things that are going to have just a special place in your heart, that is really going to hone in on a memory. And then you really almost have to detach yourself, because you have to do the practice. You can't take all this stuff into your home and disrupt.
You don't have room for it.
Yes. So, which is a huge call out for when you're, able-bodied and healthy, in your 50s or whatever. It's time to declutter. It's time. Yeah. And I just think, we're moving right now, and just, okay, anything that I'm taking out of my house right now has to be pretty dang important. Otherwise it goes to the curb. So yeah.
Exactly. Well, when you move, you end up clearing things out.
Yeah.
With my mother-in-law stuff, my husband brought more stuff into the house.
Right. Yeah.
And I gave him the choice of deciding. Yeah, there were some things I kind of liked. They weren't very big, but it's his mother, not mine, even though she was more of a mother to me than my mom, unfortunately. But, and I cried a lot when she passed away. But
that's good.
But it was their duty to figure out, him and his sister to figure out what to do, and they did.
Right.
And so that went on, that went on the market as well. but the whole point is that there's a lot of cleanup, a lot of working, remodeling the house, a lot of doing things, and keeping your house up is important. As well as, cleaning out your clutter, which is important, which I got to get my husband to do.
Yeah.
We're so busy, it doesn't happen. I'm sorry, but we're going to do our best to try.
I like to call this season, in my talk, when I give this talk, it's just the art of finishing well. We give so much thought, to how is today going to do, and just what is surrounding us right here in the near future, and in living our lives well, and being successful, and taking care of our kids, or whatever it is. But doing all that, and then having the end of your life be a chaotic mess for your loved ones, we can control that. We can control that today. We can start making steps today to make sure that our loved ones have time to grieve when we're gone, that they have that kind of luxury, that we have taken care of things, and that it's not a horrible story that they're going to tell to the next generation of what it was like to be a trustee for us.
My mother-in-law was like that. She would ask my son, "What do you want? Put your name in, it's a picture or paint." My mother-in-law was very creative.
Yeah.
But that little picture became a little bit, why that?
Yeah.
And so somebody had to let that go.
Right.
But my whole point is, a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old, or whatever his age was, I think he was probably 12 years old by that time. He wanted that. And now it's sitting in his room.
Well, why did I want that?
Exactly. Now he's in college. So it's like, well, he's probably wondering that later on. But, she was a lot more functional than my mom was, unfortunately. And so that's his memory of her. And there's nothing wrong with that. And since we're talking about finishing well with others, this is an interesting concept. Who needs to be on your team? An attorney, well, of course, the attorney's always involved because they do the paperwork, right? CPA, that's something we didn't have. Advisors, family and advisors, And how do you communicate with the beneficiaries and develop rhythms that keep conflict and high trust?
Yeah, that's the last T in trust of teamwork, and really developing a team around you. In my coaching practice, I say that isolation breeds scarcity, and isolation breeds fear, and feelings like, oh, I can't, overwhelm, and I can't do this, and this is too much. And that's because you're not meant to take it on all alone. You do need to develop a team around you. Yes, the professional team. of course, but
Yes.
is there clergy? Is there, a person of faith who you need to help you? You have the beneficiaries, and a lot of times we hear the horror stories of how everybody was fighting. What if we could have a different approach? What if that? I think that happens when people don't know what's going on. So they start expecting the worst. Oh, she's trying to take all the money, or she's taking this. That's why I developed the newsletter with the beneficiaries, is because, okay, if they know what's going on, if they know that I'm talking to the attorney this week and that we're getting this document, the other thing, the house is going on the market, if they know all the steps, then there's complete transparency, there's trust, we can work on the same team. So when I call them and let them know what's going on, it's a pleasant conversation, and it's friendly, and they feel involved in the process.
Well, yeah, it wasn't my only, there's two co-trustees or executors for a estate. It's not
Yeah.
only your decision. You need to reach out to the person and say, well, we're at this stage now. We need to do X, Y, Z. What do you think? What do you want to do? I
Right.
can find someone, to sell the Mammoth estate because my mom was beginning to decline. And so, because we knew that was going to take a little bit longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the market in Mammoth Lakes, California wasn't that great.
Right. I would say, with that, the reason why we have trustees versus beneficiaries is that there's an element, okay, there's a leader in this process.
Mhm.
And so for us, we had 12 beneficiaries. That's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. And everybody was getting different things, and there's it was very confusing. So you have to present yourself as the leader, not with tight fist control, but with transparency. But we're in the lead. When we have lots of decisions to make, maybe we say, okay, this is where we're going to go. And these are the reasons why, but you can't ask opinions. What do you think we should do? With 12 people, it becomes a hot mess. So you have to say, I have the authority. Aunt Sandy, in my case, gave me the authority to be the leader here. And I want to ask, I'm acting in her best interest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm carrying out her wishes, not my wishes. I'm carrying out her wishes. And you develop that leadership. But asking everybody's opinion is that's scary.
No, but I had to do that with my brother. It was like a check mark. He knows what's going on. Check mark. He knows what's going on. So, and also, mom's doing X, Y, and Z. She's declining.
Mm-hmm.
She knows.
Mm-hmm. Right. Keeping them abreast. Yeah.
It's keeping them abreast. Yeah. So, why don't we talk about your offer? What are you offering my audience today?
Oh, that's a hard shift. You know what? I had done a video just right after my aunt Sandy passed away. So I have a link to that, if you want to kind of hear that whole 15, 20 minute talk. I have it's a private YouTube video that I hand out. And then, I'm a business lifestyle coach, and I help people discover who they are beyond their roles and titles. So if you are interested in that, you're feeling stuck in life, or maybe you're in this position of being a trustee, schedule a call with me. I know we put the calendar link in there. You can go on my website. But if you want to know more, if you want to have a 15-minute conversation with me, strategize, I'd love to be there for you.
Well, I didn't mean for that to be a hard shift. I wanted you to talk more about the video. But anyways, I think it's fabulous that you made this video with the guidance that you walking through your aunt's, estate. And I really wish I had something like this that I could have fallen back on. And that's great that it's on my podcast, so people who actually see the podcast can actually, benefit from it.
Right.
And I wanted to give it a simple link. So it's at bit.ly, bit.ly/the art of finishing well. So, which is the exact same name of every video. And and it's lovely that, she's going to give you a 15-minute complimentary consultation so you can talk to her about this. People need more guidance because the attorneys, some may have, other people that can help you with this, some don't. And you do need to be have guidance. You do need to be able to ask people questions, bounce things off them. And perhaps, over time, you can use her services so that she can give you some ideas of what you can look for, and also as well as maybe some services that she may know of that you don't know about. So it's, I had to find out about services from other people and all this other stuff for somebody else. But it's really important to get information that you need to know to help that individual better.
Right. We need to be connected, right? If you can point somebody in the right direction when you're in this space, it's so helpful. Just to be able to talk it out with somebody is super helpful.
That too. It's not like a therapy session.
I don't go there. I help people move forward in life.
Yeah, I know. But what I mean, when you talk to somebody, it makes them feel better. It releases.
It validates whether you're on the right path or not, or if you need to re-examine something.
Exactly. Yeah. So now this is a wonderful offer. Would you like to be a guest again on my show?
Sure. I would love to have I love your whole concept of the running the half marathon and losing the 70 pounds. And that's something I think we talked about that when we first had our conversation, but I love talking about health and wellness and how to be amazing after 50. And we are fellow runners together. So that is very cool.
That's cool. We have a lot in common.
Yeah.
So please stick around for closing remarks because you have about a minute or so. Okay? Okay. So remember, I do revitalize people's lives in many different areas of health and mindset. I still start with the gut and mindset, and I can also help you with bone and joint, blood sugar, as well as hormones and immunity, brain and heart, you name it. By guiding you to clean, toxic-free foods and high-quality essential nutrients, it's benefited me so much. And it reduces symptoms. And it will actually also uplift your mood. Plus, it might even help you release some weight if needed. Now, with my mindset coaching, I help you release that stress, emotions, and emotional attachments, as well as I help guide you to reshape your core beliefs, because you're the one reshaping your core beliefs. Your mindset will be enhanced. Now, with my health optimization and weight release, your body be more efficient. So that's the mind-body solution that makes the heart and soul sing. Ask me about my programs. Set up a complimentary consultation at Debi Changes Lives, DebiChangesLives, as in Victory, ES.com/Linktree, LINKTREE. And when you do that, you'll get to know me, I'll get to know you, and I'll guide you to optimum health. And it begins with a few health assessments. The health evaluation is actually complimentary, where you rate your symptoms the last 30 days in 4 categories of health. Some questions overlap in different categories. Answer them all. You get a baseline score. I'll review it with you. When you move forward with my services, I'll create that custom natural holistic strategy, and we'll monitor this on a monthly basis for you. Now, I also offer 2 different body Zyto scans, and I prefer to do the Zero link because I can send it remotely and internationally, and I've actually sent it to Australia and South Africa. The Zero is a transdermal optical imaging app that I send a link to your phone. You scan your face for 30 seconds. It's only going through your skin to look at blood flow for components of energetic, functional, emotional, and different body systems and lifestyles. That emotional component, such a hidden gem. It creates a wellness report, not a diagnosis, of biomarkers out of range and products and services that bring it back into range. It's quite intensive, so I do review it with you. The cost of the scan is $75. And when you move forward with either a program or a product, I'll give you a $25 discount. Now, the Vizera link, also known as TOI, are terms that you can use to search pubmed.gov, pubmed.gov, for its accuracy, and it's quite accurate. When people take the scan, they're really amazed what their body tells them, and you'll be too. Curious? Either ask me questions in my consultation site, or do the scan and see what they're talking about. And on the same site are my programs. Take Your Body Back is a 12-week weight release mindset coaching program where You will be using a new version of you to drive your success. All coaching is done on Zoom, and the first one's always private to you. I am a HIPAA certified compliant practitioner, so anything that has to do with health assessments is private to you. I also give you a choice between 2 meal plans, directions on one, and instructions how to create that new version of you in an avatar board that will drive you with emotion and passion to achieve your health and weight transformation goals throughout your journey, and you will. The rest of the coaching is the same, whether it's group or private. We'd be celebrating our wins. I'll be helping you with those boards, and I'll guide you over gaps with health and mindset tips. You will become a new you. You always be welcome to ask me at the consultation before signing up what this program is all about. There's also a show called Wholistic Self-Love. And that's on the show button of my link tree. Why Fast is an intermittent fasting program that gets your cells and body humming and in turn boosts your metabolism, rich, dense nutrition, and high-quality essential nutrients. And exercise and the recipes. Intermittent fasting actually will repair cells, reduce inflammation, and give you mental clarity. If you need some coaching, there's a 2 or 4 week program to get you started. If you want more coaching, you can pay for more, and it's up to you. You can also start with these smaller programs for mindset enhancement as well as health optimization, but truly those are longer term journeys. That bigger program will probably save you some money, or I can create a custom program for you. For a limited time, I'm offering Debi's Coaching Chats, which is a complimentary 30-minute coaching session in an intimate group setting. It's not recorded. Since we're running a little bit low on time, these topics you can look at on the video, but pretty much you're optimizing your health, you're releasing weight, helping you with hormones, creating a winning mindset, and of course that avatar board. These meetings are on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and you need to be registered for it at Debi Changes Lives, which is DebiChangesLives, as in Victory ES.com/chats, CHTS, and you learn what my coaching is all about. Finally, learn more about alternative health services, programs, offers, articles, blogs, upcoming shows, events, and promos by subscribing to my newsletter at DebiChangesLive.com. This time is /radio TV show as one word in lowercase, and I give you a gift, a 30-day health and mindset daily action journal where you record your gratitudes, thoughts, feelings, and emotions, as well as food, water, supplements, and exercise done on a daily basis. You can even track your measurements. Plus, you need to review it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, celebrate your wins, and see your gaps you need to work on. If you need help bridging that gap, you contact me for coaching. This is a great health and mindset awareness tool. I'm certain that you found this show educational, informative, and enjoyed it. Reach out to me for my services, programs, products, and offers, and reach out to Cindee for that wonderful video and her services with their calendar, and buy her upcoming book. Do we have time to bring Cindee back?
Oh, thank you, Debi, for having me today. I would love to help you if you're in a place of discovering who you are past your roles, past mom, past your titles. We start with a DISC consultation and we move on from there. And I would love to help you with that. So thank you, Debi, for having me today. It was a great discussion, and I thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I really enjoyed it, and people are going to get a lot out of it. So thank you too. So continue to enjoy my radio and TV show, Debi Changes Lives, on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, where your holistic journey begins.